How's it going, guys? It's Burgers here and welcome to another Age of Empire mobile video. Today we're going to talk about the reasons why players are losing wars. And I think one of the biggest reasons players lose wars has nothing to do with heroes, nothing to do with power, and sometimes it doesn't even have anything to do with battle they're currently fighting. Because after watching enough large scale PvP, I start realizing the armies weren't actually that what decide most fights. Movement did. I think most of us naturally watch the exciting part of the wars. We watch rally crashing into each other, huge open field fights, battle reports, troop losses. That's where our attention goes. But after more fights, I keep noticing something strange. The alliance winning the current fight wasn't always the alliance winning the war. Sometimes there was actually losing grounds without realizing it because something much more important was happening behind the battle. And once you start noticing the things that happen behind the fightings, it's hard to ever look the PvP the same way again. If you enjoyed those strategy discussions, consider subscribing and leaving a like so we can keep exploring ideas like this together. The first realization is surprisingly simple. Most players watch armies, experienced players watch movement. When you open the alliance map during the war, your eyes naturally follow the rallies, the huge troop balls, and the big fights. That's where all of the action is. But experienced war leaders often aren't looking there first, they're looking behind it. Their reinforcement coming from? How long do they take to arrive? Which roads are still open? Because those questions usually tell you what the battlefield is going to look like 5 minutes from now. And boy oh boy, that happened almost every time with me. When I see some fightings going on, I definitely first of all look where are the players. Because if the fight is happening somewhere far away, like for example right now there is some flag that is building, and if somebody, if the fight is right now here, I'm going to look how many people are close to this specific place. Right now on this side you can see there's like 5 people that are close to this flag. The other one, if they want to do some reinforcement, I'm going to watch that those players are here till they come at this position. Is going to cost them time. Same for the rest of the lance members that are around those flags. It's just costing so much time to do some reinforcement. And the more castles are close to the battlefield, this immediately means that those people can, reinforce way more faster. You defeat their legions and they're going to be right there after 1 minute. Your legion get defeated, you're going to be there if you're far away like 5 minutes from now. And this time in the reinforcement, make the impression that, like, for example, you're fighting against 2 times more people just because they reinforce the battlefield way more faster. And this is one of the most important things the old war leaders are looking, is how fast the reinforcements can arrive, how long, for example, if you defeat one legion, the person is going to get back to their home. Because even if there's a lot of people in the front lines, still if the active ones are behind, this is absolutely the same thing. The active one is going to reinforce way more slower. Now I'm going to make other video about the teleports and this resource, how to do a teleports in the war times. So yeah, as I mentioned, subscribe for this channel and leave a like if you enjoyed those type of videos. Once I start paying attention to movement instead of armies, I realized territory wasn't just about owning lands, it's about control time. That sounds strange at first, but think about what territory actually give your alliance. Shorter reinforcement roads, safer teleports, more places to city hop, more defense position. Every piece of territory your alliance control make it easier for your next march to arrive. At the same time, every piece of territory the enemy lose make their next reinforcements take longer. And you can see this over the map always and over and over again, especially at the places where there is a very important fight going on. Let's say, for example, around this gate, as you can see, there is like 3 flags right here of this alliance. And maybe this is actually the same alliance, maybe it's not the right approach, but you're going to see that at important places where the people have to gather, there is some more flags here. Like there is some more flags. Obviously the flags is something as a resource in this game, so you cannot make like a lot of flags, but you can see here how our union is actually making couple flags. The reason behind is if we get pushed, for example, there's going to be enough space for everybody to teleport here and have more faster reinforcement, more faster to get at the battlefield. Obviously, one flag is very large, so a lot of castles can teleport here. But yeah, at the end of the day, sometimes getting those flag at the right position is just going to give you that advantage, so your people can do more fast reinforcement. And this is one of the most important things in the fights, because if your enemies have 10 people who is active and you have 10 people that is active, if you have like 2 times less, if reinforcing the battlefield 2 times shorter, for example, for you is like 1 minute, for the enemy is like 2 minutes, you're like 2 times more people on the battlefield just because of this, just because of the fast reinforcement. That naturally leads to another realization. Sometimes destroying a single reinforcement road is worth more than winning the fight happening in front of you. I used to think every important decision happened in the front line. Now I'm not so sure, because imagine 2 alliances fighting over one flag. Everyone is focused on that battle. Meanwhile, one alliance quietly cuts off teleport area, or destroying a forward flag, or block a wonder dock. Suddenly the players already fighting aren't the problem. It's the players who cannot get there anymore. Now, when I started playing Age of Empire Mobile back in the days, one of the things I was looking was the flags. I mean, how those flags are actually built, how are positioned, and all these things. Now, why is that? Because the strategy, the player who is thinking over the building is maybe the most important player in the whole alliance. It's not the war lead, it's not the even the leader of the alliance. Is the person who is deciding where the flags is going to build. Because if you by nature get some good positioning, even if your players are not that strong, having that good positioning is going to reflect in the outcome and their performance at the end of the day. So that was something very important, but it's absolutely true. If you manage to cut out players reinforcement arena, or places where they can teleport, if you cut out some other alliance that is coming to help them, if you cut second shield alliance, all these things actually matter. Now, from first look, the fight may actually look that this is the center where the fight is going to happen, but at the end of the day is going to be, are these alliances going to be able to continue fighting? Because if someone else cut your reinforcements, cut your alliance to come to help you in the main fight in the center, you're basically done. I mean, you're going to fight till at one point your players is going to get exhausted, nobody can actually help and do some reinforcement, and this majority of the cases just going to lead to losing the war. The biggest shift for me happened when I stopped asking how do we win this fight and start asking, can we keep fighting for an hour from now? Because winning one engagement doesn't actually matter if you cannot sustain the pressure afterward. I've been seeing alliance dominate a rally, celebrate the victory, and then spend the next 20 minutes trying to get everyone back into positioning. Meanwhile, the other alliance was already rebuilding their front line. already reinforcing, already replacing another, already placing another flag. The first alliance won the battle, the second one won the momentum. And to be fair, this is one of the biggest trap one alliance can actually enter, is having this feeling that you already win the whole fight. Why is that? It's just because you do some fighting, you see that there is no other people on the battlefield, and you start thinking, okay, maybe they're entering in the downtime, or maybe something happened with their alliance, and they're currently not fighting at this moment, and you just back up. And like this, your alliance in general is losing the momentum. This is extremely important because if the enemy alliance is doing something like strategy, like, okay, the weak people just go inside the castle, there's going to be some couple strong players that is going to fight here and there, and this is the plan. After 2 hours, we're going to strike, or maybe after 1 hour we're going to strike. In same time, the enemy don't know those things, don't know those markers, they don't know that idea, and they're like, okay, we actually finished for today. We beat them, and after 1 hour everybody got her, and they start pushing. And this alliance that was thinking that everything is over right now, for they have to be doing some Discord pings, start gathering the people again, and all these things. And once the first alliance lose the momentum just because thinking that they're done, the other alliance are start building momentum, and it's hard for the defending alliance to somehow stop what is happening, even though that before 1 hour there was actually the players who was defeating, who was actually winning. So yeah, this is very important with the momentum, with every alliance, every event, everything that is happening in this game. Now, some people are saying this is so-called the activity, but even if you have activity, you may lose the momentum. The players can decide that, they're going to do something else till the rest of their day, and like this, your alliance is just losing the momentum. I think today's discussion is a great example of why I enjoy analyzing wars instead of just showing some battle reports. They're usually a completely different story happening underneath what we first notice. A huge thank you to all of the channel members who make those long-term strategy discussions possible. Your support gives me the time to test ideas, review wars, and look deeper than just who won or who lose. If you do like to help me and continue making these videos, videos like this, you can check out the membership below this video.